We have a very good quality of education,
Yeah.
good highway systems. We have a world class airport, obviously with DFW. Most
Yeah.
importantly, no, most importantly, in the state of Texas, we have no income tax. We have no state income tax. Our taxes are all federal taxes. And a lot of other markets out there, certainly these large markets, all have state income tax as well that's being charged to people. So Texas in general is a great place to live. And the Dallas Fort Worth area specifically has taken on a huge presence in the real estate market. Now, what does that mean to everybody? What it means is that we're not going to see home prices plummet here in Dallas Fort Worth, and I think a lot of the movement that we're seeing right now is truthfully in the East Coast, in the eastern states. We're not seeing a lot of movement in Fort Worth and Dallas. We are seeing a shortage of supply. In other words,
Yeah.
there's still a significant demand for housing. While it's gone down, oh, pardon me.
Let's go.
Oh, excuse me. That's embarrassing live on radio. Um,
It's
but
normal.
but it is normal. I beg your pardon there. But what I was saying is, I think that when it comes right down to it, um, Fort Worth and Dallas is an incredibly desirable place to live. Home prices are not going down, and there is still a shortage of available housing. So literally, that means prices are going up. They're not going up as fast as they were before the rate hikes, but prices are still holding steady and going up in a lot of areas. And the reason we're having this conversation is because I want our listeners to understand, our viewers to understand exactly the importance of purchasing a home in a good area, purchasing a home at a time when it represents value to the consumer. Um, you shouldn't be concerned with interest rates right now because a home can always be refinanced. What you should be concerned with is putting yourself in a situation to build equity, to build profit, to build lifetime security for your family. And that happens regardless of where the interest rates are. It's still significantly more expensive to rent an apartment than it is to pay for your home. And this is why we continue to do this every week. This is what we want our listeners and our viewers to understand. Now is the right time to take advantage of the opportunity of home ownership and stop throwing money away on rent.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. And Rob, yes, I heard one doctor say that Dallas, well, Texas is the promised land, pretty much. So it is. It's definitely a great place to be. But when you say things like now is not the time to really worry about interest rates. Once you get in, you can refinance. My question is, how soon after I get in can I refinance?
Typically, I would tell someone, just because of rules and guidelines, to hold off at least 210 days, which is the equivalent of 7 months before you look to refinance. But in all fairness, I think refinancing is really driven more by interest rates than anything else. And if I was going to get out my crystal ball and make a prediction, I would say that we're not going to see rates begin to decline significantly for another 18 months or so.
Wow.
So probably not until we are near or after the upcoming election. I think rates won't just automatically go from where they are today at 7% to 4% overnight. It's going to be a gradual decline because it was a gradual increase. And I think that what we want is everybody to understand the benefit of refinancing is not always in the interest rate. In some cases, the benefit of refinancing is a matter of taking the equity out of your house and using it to eliminate debt. I spoke to a young lady yesterday who um, is actually moving her interest rate by not even 1/4 of a percentage point, but she's going to be able to eliminate $1,700 a month in debt by refinancing
Wow.
and taking equity out of her house. So there's a lot of things to consider as far as the benefits of refinancing and why you would refinance, when you would refinance. Again, the goal here is for people to just call us and ask. It doesn't cost any money to call and ask the question. The only question, as you've said before, that's a bad question is the one you never ask.
Yeah.
And this is not the right time to self-diagnose. Give me an opportunity to help you move forward. Certainly call us on the air if you would. Our telephone number is 972-988-1040. That's 972-988-1040. Or you can call me off the air if that's more convenient. My direct dial telephone number is going to be 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. Or you can find me at Lenders Texas, spelled out LendersTexas.com.
Rob, do we have a lot changing or anything changing actually in the near future for our veterans?
Well, I mean, I think that still veterans are best positioned as homeowners right now, certainly better than anyone else when it comes to the programs and the products that are available to them. There is always talk of how we can better position our veterans to become homeowners. But quite literally, I think the best thing we can do for veterans is to educate and inform them. I feel like so many veterans don't understand the VA loan. I was actually on the phone with a young lady veteran this morning, and we were talking about things, and she was telling me how she had applied for a mortgage loan. How she'd applied for a mortgage loan with another company, and they were requiring all these credit score minimums and everything else. And as we spoke on, and I told her that there really is no requisite credit score for a VA loan, she was flabbergasted. She had no earthly idea exactly what the market held for her, and because of that, she will become a homeowner. I think there's just a lack of education out there. We've done this show, Autumn, for 23 years now. We put a lot of people into homes that didn't think they could become homeowners. The goal is to continue to educate and inform. Veterans have the most access when it comes to mortgage loans, although they may not know they have that kind of access. And that's what we hope to achieve here: educate and inform.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rob, I don't know what are the steps to, do more. We all have to do our part. We can't just leave it, up to you. Talk to your relatives, talk to your family members. Those who, if you're not a veteran, and you may know someone who's a veteran, to get this information out there, because there's so much I didn't know myself.
Well, and that's a very good point there. I think very oftentimes we will speak to people, whether it's in the workplace or at church or synagogue or what have you, just friends who say things like, I think it's time for me to purchase a home. Well, the question should always arise: what can I do to help you? Can I share more information with you? Because it's amazing the amount of unintended ignorance that's out there when it comes to it's not because people don't want to know. They just haven't had the opportunity to become a homeowner before. And in this case, not knowing your options can be very detrimental. It can be very impactful in getting that mortgage loan. I mean, I hate to see people continue to rent when they don't have to rent. I just feel like that's such a waste of money.
And so many times where we think that this is what we have to do right now is to pay this rent. And the reality is that you have, a lot of times you have more information because we're self-diagnosing ourselves. And we need to make that call to you so that you can help us with that. So go ahead and give your information again.
Sure. My telephone number again is 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. My name again is Rob Stern, and I'm with the Lenders Residential Mortgage team here at Mortgage Solutions. You can also find me on the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas, that is LendersTexas.com.
And Rob, we get a lot of phone calls, and it seems like a lot of them are older. Can you speak to that younger generation who maybe feel like this is something that they can't do, or buying a home is just something that's not possible right now? Is there an age limit?
You know, this is actually a really good conversation to have on them, because I think a lot of what happens. Again, we were talking education earlier. I think there's a lot of or a lack, I should say, of education generationally from mom and dad to their children. And because of that, the children who may be in their 20s or perhaps 30s think home ownership is unattainable. But it's not. Everybody has the ability to become a homeowner, not just veterans. Everybody has the ability to purchase a home. And I think that you know, some of the things that I hear young people say are things like, well, don't you need to have a 20% down payment to buy a home? And you don't. You can purchase a home with as little as no money down, depending on how the mortgage loan is structured. I hear young people ask about needing to have a co-borrower or a co-signer rather, and they don't necessarily. It depends on income and what they do. But I think the single biggest issue that we continue to experience with young people is just the fact that they don't ask questions.
Yeah.
And I think that might be something that's been brought about by perhaps the internet and access that people feel they have because of the internet. And I'm here to bust the bubble. What you read on the internet is 90% advertising and 10% truth.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get the real fact when you go shopping on the internet. If you want good, solid information, just give me a call. I don't mind taking the time to explain the process, but trying to deduce what's going on by reading snippets of things that you might see on the internet that truly is propaganda more than anything is just going to confuse the issue further. You know, I think literally that people have been impacted in a negative fashion because of what they perceive as their access to information on the internet. I know, you know, we were talking the other day, and we had a long conversation about people that try and communicate via email and the internet rather than just picking up the telephone and calling. And I think that's a generational thing. And I get that. And you're a young woman, and I understand how it's more convenient perhaps to do that.
Yes.
But the problem is with an email, people overlook emails. I probably receive easily in a day 250 emails. And it's part of my job and my responsibility in my business. But the point here is, if you want an immediate answer to an immediate question, something that's on your mind, hey, I want to know what's going on. You don't email somebody about it. Pick up the phone. I'm available 7 days a week. If my phone answers, that means I'm ready to talk and ready to help. I take appointments on Saturdays as well as throughout the week. And the reason I do that is because a lot of individuals out there, not just our listeners, but a lot of individuals out there don't feel comfortable having these conversations at work. They want to speak on the weekend when they're perhaps at home and a little bit more comfortable, and they don't have desk mates or cubby mates that are listening to their conversation. So again, I'm available anytime. My telephone number is 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. But I want to encourage everybody to give us a call while we're on the air, because again, the questions that you ask are probably questions that other people have, and they just have been uncomfortable in asking up to this point. And the number to reach us on the air is going to be 972-988-1040. That's 972-988-1040. So yeah, please give us a call on the air and let us know what we can do to help. I'm not sure. I think we may have lost Autumn just a moment ago. And if in fact that's the case, I'm sure she'll be back momentarily. Again, my name is Rob Stern. I'm with the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team here at Mortgage Solutions, and it's our goal and intent to educate and inform everybody who is watching this broadcast, listening to this broadcast. I've been with KGGR and the predecessor station KHVN now for going on 23 years. And over the past 23 years, we've helped thousands of people get into a home. And there she is with all her beauty. I see her. She's back.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. My computer just said goodbye.
Well, you know, we're only as good as the computers that support us, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So did we have any phone calls in between then? 972-988-1040. That's 972-988-1040. What were we talking about, Rob?
Well, I was just, we were actually just talking while you kind of clicked off there about what our intention is with this show and why we continue to do this show. At Autumn, I've literally put thousands of families into homes that did not think they could become homeowners.
Yeah.
A ton of what I do is working with veterans. I love hearing from veterans. I love working with veterans. But by all means, that's not the only capacity that we have.
Yeah.
FHA loans down to a 500 credit score, USDA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. I'm doing more and more home equity loans right now. People taking equity out of their house to eliminate credit card bills. Reverse mortgages, that's become popular again as well. People want to put themselves into a mortgage where there is no principal and interest payment whatsoever. That provides a significant amount of relief to an individual.
Does that add to the length of their loan?
Well, it's a refinance, so yes, it would to an extent. Now, in a reverse mortgage, and we can talk about this for just a moment. A reverse mortgage is exactly the opposite of a traditional mortgage, meaning with a reverse mortgage, you instantly stop making your principal and interest payments. So your mortgage goes away instantly. What ends up happening is you continue to pay your taxes and your insurance.
Okay.
You're going to do that. You're going to do that when the insurance expires and when the taxes are due at the end of the year. So quite literally, it's all dependent on the position of an individual. But I had a gentleman call me this week who was retired. His house payment was $2,100. His principal and interest portion of that payment was $1,700 a month. He is retired and living on a fixed income. So because of the reverse mortgage, he's actually saving that $1,700 a month now and able to live a much different life. And so I think it's all somewhat relative to exactly what your goals are and what your intent is. With a reverse mortgage, you still have equity in your home. You're not giving up on your ownership or anything whatsoever. You're just basically using what is a financial tool to better navigate your ownership of that home. Now, you have to be 62 years old. There has to be a certain amount of equity in the home. But I see a lot of reverse mortgage business that has been coming my way recently, and it seems to be increasing.
Wow, really? Wow. And because I know before we were talking about young people, the younger generation. I was 25 when I bought my first home, and I felt like by the age of 27, I wanted to go ahead and start trying to refinance. So there's no age on that either with reverse mortgages, is what I'm trying to say.
No, ma'am. A reverse mortgage is the only age restrictive mortgage product that's out there. No, you can refinance anytime you choose, and actually, you can refinance your way out of a reverse mortgage as well. So I'll give you an example. Um, uh, uh, a a borrower who is doing a reverse mortgage. Who is doing a reverse mortgage right now because she is nearing retirement and she doesn't want to continue making those principal and interest payments, but in her projections 5 years down the road she expects to be working in a different profession again, and she's going to want to eliminate that reverse mortgage and start paying off her house. So quite literally, I think anybody we're speaking to, any product we're speaking of, it's just a matter of educating the individual fully so they know what they're doing, and having or developing a long range action plan that puts that will put you in a position of power, a position of strength. And again, that's really important. Being a homeowner is a position of strength. Being a homeowner is like investing in your own bank account and literally sleeping in that bank account every night. Um, and I don't know that enough people really understand the difference between renting a house or renting an apartment and owning that house.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a bank account that's going up.
Yes, ma'am. No, you're going to continue to see more equity increases. Certainly in the Fort Worth and Dallas area, we're still seeing home prices rise in many areas, and it's expected that overall the average will be about 8% increase this year in property values, which is great for those of us who own a home, and for those who don't own homes, you're just coming to the party a little bit late.
Yeah, and you're making someone else rich when you don't own homes. So, Rob, now, of course, and you talk about the difference between renting and buying the home or owning the home, yes, rent changes. It could go up, next week, it could go up next month. How stable is it when it comes to buying your own home?
Well, when you buy your own home, your principal and interest shouldn't change as long as you're in a fixed income mortgage. When you're renting something, those rates are going to go up every 6 months or 12 months. As a matter of fact, I know we've got a caller here, but real quick, I want to go ahead and just say this. Um, People wonder why the apartment complexes are now only doing 6-month leases, and that's the answer to the question right there, because they can raise your rent every 6 months instead
Wow.
of every year.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, go ahead. Let's take a caller. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you today?
We're
Hello,
good.
caller.
Good. Yes, I have a question about income and how it's factored into purchasing a home.
Yes, ma'am. So income does play a part in buying a home, and that's actually a very definitive question. But your income has to be offset by the amount of debt that somebody carries. So quite literally, an individual may have $2,500 a month of documentable income but no debt, or they could have $25,000 a month in income but $20,000 in debt. So you sort of can't have one without the other. In other words, that's what makes your debt to income ratio work. And a mortgage loan is driven by ratios. So we're always going to use documentable income, meaning what we see on your W-2s. If you're self-employed, what we see on your income tax returns. And we're always going to use debt as it's stated on your credit report. So if there is third-party debt outside of your credit report, that's not really something that we're going to consider directly unless it's something that you ask us to consider.
Okay.
So,
I think I caught some of what you said. So I'm concerned because my income is not what it used to be, and
yes, ma'am.
I just keep thinking that I can't buy a house because of how low my income is. But I do have savings because one of my jobs or my long-term job that I did have, I have my pension. So I don't know if that kind of money is factored into your total income, or how does that work?
Yeah, you're now if it's retirement income or pension income, that's considered income. Yes, ma'am. If it's money that you've got in a 401k, that money can be used clearly to help mitigate the expense of the transaction or bring down the costs and bring down your average payment perhaps, but it wouldn't be counted directly as income. My recommendation, in all honesty, would be to give me a call, because I've got some very specific questions I'd like to ask, but I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable situation on the air. Let me give you my direct dial telephone number. If you can call me off the air, I'll take as much time as needed, and I can walk you through the whole thing. It sounds like there's an opportunity here for you, though. My telephone number is going to be 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. And I'll be off the air in another 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
No worries, and God bless you. Thanks for your
Wow,
call.
that's she has some great questions there. Yeah, so I know you need to dive deep. So, guys, definitely make sure that you give Rob a call. So for this young lady, I'm just believing that it's time. It's time for her blessing, for her to do it. She said, she keeps thinking, this isn't something that she could do. But let's let Rob tell you.
Well, you're right. Well, that's the self-diagnosing that we were talking about before, right? And if you're gonna have a preconceived thought in your head, that preconceived thought should be, it's time for my blessing, just like you said, Autumn.
Yes.
Not, I can't do it. It should be, I can do it, and I'm going to figure out a way to do it.
Yes, absolutely. So, speaking of doing it, Rob, go ahead and give your information so that they can call you. Y'all go ahead and call them as soon as we get off the air. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Again, my name is Rob Stern. Last name spelled Stern. I'm with the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team here at Mortgage Solutions. My direct dial phone number is going to be 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. You can also find me on the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas, spelled out LendersTexas.com.
And there you have it. You know that he can help you. You've heard the testimonies calling in the last few weeks. We've had some great calls to call in. So go ahead and give him a call. Thank you, Rob. And we will see you next Friday.
It's a date. I'll see you next Friday. Thanks for everything, Autumn. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
KGGR invites you to tune in at 1 p.m. on Fridays for our weekly interview with Rob Stern of Mortgage Solution Financial. Rob has a wealth of information of the American dream of home